So good evening. On behalf of the Siam Society Lecture Series Committee, it gives me great pleasure to welcome you this evening to a talk by Kleuap Kaysorn entitled Bombs, Baccy and Buddhism. By the way, I did not know that word. Being American, it was not a word I knew. It means tobacco. The First World War Diary of Sergeant Kleuap Kaysorn. The First World War was an extremely tragic event with huge loss of life, compounded by the deadly Spanish flu. With the help of Khwanchai, this evening we will gain a different view of this unfortunate war through the diary of a Thai soldier. We will also be assisted by Stephen Martin, who will read excerpts from the Thai soldier's diary. Our speaker this evening, Kleuap Kaysorn, is the founder and current director of the Ban Dong Ban Museum and Education Center in Galasin, Isan. During her career, she was a government officer in Bangkok Metropolitan Administration. She is a fellow of the Royal Society of Arts and a fellow of the Royal Asiatic Society of Great Britain and Ireland. Her focus of interest is on culture and history of the 19th century. She will be assisted by Stephen Martin, a retired British historian and professor of medicine. He supports Kwan with the running of the Ban Dong Ban Museum and Educational Center. He previously lectured at the Siam Society on how the fall of Ayutthaya prompted Dr. Ferdinand Dejeune to return to Europe and sponsor Mozart. By the way, copies of the book, if you've seen, are available on the table, the book that Kwan translated, Soldiers of Siam, a First World War Chronicle. And she would be very happy to sign the editions if you purchase one. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kun Jane. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Bombs, Baccy and Buddhism, the First World War Diary of Sergeant Kleuap Kaysorn. It's very nice to talk to you tonight. This is Sergeant Kleuap Kaysorn. After finding his diary, I went round libraries and sites in France, Germany, Belgium, England, as well as translating and writing commentary. I am going to take you through his experiences, Stephen E. readings, Kaysorn comments, and King Wachirawood writing. This is the museum we set up, bringing art across. I learned restorations, and we do cultural events. And we do educational works for children and adults. Some First World War artifacts are exhibited. We are supported by our 9 Ampere and 4 local governors. The museum collection has all the postcards in this talk and in the book, which is for sale tonight, discounted at 250 baht. When you have botanical gardens around the museum, you have to take in rescue animals like him. He broke his leg. This is him now on the right after taking over our house. One woman on Facebook has rescued squirrel, which bit her husband. She said then that it was time to release her husband in the grounds of the temple. Before Christmas 1914, the Kaiser's imperial warships did the first bombardment of England. Houses of civilians in Hartlepool, County Durham, were destroyed. This was the county of King Wachirawood's regiment, the Durham Light Infantry. The paper reported nearly 100 dead, including children and babies. In Belgium, this is a German postcard showing German soldiers happily camping in Dinant. in 1914. But here is a secret photograph of a street in Dinant of executed civilians. 300 were massacred by the Kaiser's German army and 3,500 Belgian civilians were killed in 8 days. In Brenny saw execution of villager and the priest. King Vajirawood had actually visited Brenny Fort in the recent past. In 1915, Edith Cowell, a nurse in Brussels, was also executed by the German army after helping Allied soldiers out of Belgium. In 1904 to 1907, in German-occupied West Africa, 120,000 African rebels' families were forced by the Kaiser to die of starvation, dehydration, and disease in the Namib Desert. It was an Holocaust. In Asia, Imperial Germany had Papuan troops like this in Kaiser Wilhelm's land. Under German command in 1914, the Kaiser's German navies had occupied Tsingtao, China. Also, Japanese and Czechoslovak forces fought in Siberia against the German-Austrian army. There were warplanes all over the sky, the reason why Siam needed an air force. Importantly, King Vajirawood knew all of this. In the 1980s, Prince Vajirawood went to study in England. In the picture are the prince and Mr. Weems, his royal guardian appointed by King Chulalongkorn to look after his sons while they were in England. They are boating in the Dutch-style garden at Westbury Court. After his return to Thailand, they exchanged letters continually between 1903 and 1925. In 1898, Prince Vajirawood attended the Royal Military Academy, Sandhurst. He studied law and history at Christ Church College, Oxford University. Later, he was a captain in the British Army's Durham Light Infantry. In 1897, King Chulalongkorn visited Armstrong's gun factory in Newcastle. He had brought hydro-pneumatic guns and installed them at the Chao Phraya River mouth when the Pak Nam incident took place. This is the king and Lord Armstrong. He had an overnight stay at Armstrong's mansion, Khwanchai, the first house in the world to be lit by electricity in 1880. This is King Vajirawood's Sanamchan Palace, Nakhon Pathom, very similar to Khwanchai. King Chulalongkorn went to see Queen Victoria in Osborne House, Isle of Wight. In the picture is Osborne's prayer fort and trenches where Kaiser Wilhelm II of Germany and King George V of England played together when they were young. In 1915, the London Gazette had King Vajirawood's appointment as British Honorary General by King George V. On the right is King Vajirawood in his service uniform with the DLI cap badge, ex-DLI Museum collection. Let's look at German action in Siam pre-1917. While neutral, Germany used Siam for spy bases. German agents infiltrated Burma and French Indochina from Siam. And Germany issued Red Cross certificates to collaborators as evidence for future favors, having helped Germany if Germany won. The Siamese government declared war on Germany as Austro-Hungary on the 22nd of July 1917. The king gave a speech in 1918 to the Siamese Expeditionary Force on their departure outside Ananta Samakom Throne Hall.
We are honourable and have moral principles. Nothing stops my heart from going with you. When you are hurt, I will be hurt with you. When you are happy, do please share your happiness with me. Your duty is of great importance. I wish you happiness without danger, and to return home with a great victory. Come back to see me, your friend, and we will sit at the same table again after the war has ended.
The king also read his poem, A Siamese Conscience. We translated into English for the first time, preserving His Majesty, rhyming points and rhythm.
Love your king with loyal and true respect. Love your land with strong, sure hearts. Love Buddhist faith with true good merit. Love good deeds which all the world imparts. Walk, stand, and sit with conscience. Think how you make Siam look. Being a free and happy country, cherish that always, ne'er brought to book. Should foes our Thai land invade, we shall fight to our last breath. To spill our blood, our flesh nigh all gone, till death, names and honour will live on. If Siam then still exists, so too will our lives as now. But should Siam be shamed and vanquished, then gone are ourselves, our land, this vow.
The first consequences of Siam joining the Allies were that Siam supplied teak wood to the Allies for shipbuilding, broke up German propaganda and agitation in Southeast Asia. 9 German steamer ships were seized. The Allies controlled unbroken coastline from China to the Mediterranean. In the last few months of the war, the Allies were struggling, fatigued, and in stalemate. This is the British Field Marshal Douglas Haig and his letter doubting victory even 7 months before the end of the war. In September 1917, this letter of His Majesty King Vachiravut to Mr. Weems explained the German threat and infiltration of Siam and his moral duty against badness. I was allowed to read and photograph the actual letter in Grosser archives. He listed everything we have said so far in this talk about atrocity and the German threat to Siam. In America, while the Prince of Songkhla, King Bhumipon's father, was studying medicine at Harvard, he wrote,
President Wilson's message to Congress asking for war put in words what the Siamese had been thinking, and when that great message became known and understood in Siam, the place of the country in the war was fixed.
Let's begin the soldier's journey. This is Sergeant Kleuap Kaysorn. The reason for his war diary was because he wanted to share his experience with Thai at home. He had studied in Temple and was a veterinary surgeon before Thai University started. Kaysorn described himself as a lucky one to be selected and very pleased to do royal duties. In fact, from his daughter's notes, he lied about his real age because he was 10 years too old but wanted to join the expedition very much. Kaysorn began his diary.
The Siamese government decided to act as a matter of honour. Despite being a small nation on the world stage, without honourable action, Siam could not call itself a nation. After the Minister of War announced the royal order that His Majesty the King wanted volunteers, many full-grown strong men who love our country reported to join up, more men than we needed. I wish you blessings of prosperity, and may Lord Buddha grant your wishes. To those who follow the guidance in this book, be great happiness with long life, tender complexion, a happy mind, good health, wisdom and wealth. Although you are going to be born in another life, may you all please be virtuous in this one.
In the picture here is General Praya Pichai Chanrit, commander of the Siamese Expeditionary Force. They left Bangkok on the 19th of June 1918 after an overnight stay at the military of war. There were 8 groups of Royal Transport Corp, followed by the Air Corps and the Medical Corps. They prayed to the Emerald Buddha as Siamese tradition and marched to Ratchawaradit Pier, then boarded the Sea Samut ship to Sichang Island. Next, they went aboard the French ship Empire for the journey to Europe. In 3 days, they arrived in Singapore. It was wealthy, full of commercial goods as Kaysorn described. He was impressed with the transport system, tram, train, car, cargo trucks, and carts. You can see rickshaws and a crossroads with traffic conductor and a foreign trader and customer. On the way to Colombo around the Strait of Malacca, most Thais were seasick. It was very rough. They could not eat. They reached Colombo in 7 days. Here's Colombo Harbour. Kaysorn felt dizzy and could hardly walk. He said it was a nice town, a British colony with very kind people. The governor very kindly organized the public correction for the Thai soldier, donate lots of fruit. Next, they sailed at speed to the Red Sea. It was very hot. The Thais cooled themselves down with damp cloth. The Suez Canal fortress very heavily guarded and secure. Kaysorn saw desert condition of poor soil and no vegetation and only camels and dead palms. The Thai had to wait for an escort ship because it was very dangerous from this point. From Port Said to Marseille, the Thais were in real danger of the U-boat attack. There was news of a submarine sinking an Allied cargo ship 2 days ago. They had life jackets on, ready to jump in the sea at any point. The convoy had 28 ships. Here is a picture of the German U-boat with tugs and is submerging. They sailed in fish-tooth formation, passing Turkeys and reaching the British-controlled waters. The other ship separated away. This is a photograph of Marseille dock, full of surprise. Kaysorn recorded traveled in total of 42 days from Bangkok to Marseille. They were welcomed by the Siamese ambassador to France. Kaysorn mentioned all of their legs were stiff and wobbly. The Air Corps separated away secretly, and he had no idea where they went. They were paid 2 months' salary and brought rotten grapes. They are all They all got diarrhea. The doctor prescribed creme de menthe peppermint liqueur. The next stop was Lyon. The diarrhea disgustingly continued in the railway trucks. Going to Lyon, they had very hard march up this hill to camp and went to Duodong. They learned to drive here from scratch. Kaysorn mentioned they were good students and wanted to do well. They learned to drive in these hills around the town. Kaysorn was delighted that he passed with a score of 11. Ominously though, Kaysorn had a bad cold, but recovered because possibly the Spanish flu. They trained how to use a gas mask in the poison gas chamber here. On to Versailles, the main supply bed. He had a very hard time, even with cinema at night. In the morning, Kaysorn got a gun, helmet, shoes, scarf, and fur coat. A long journey to Vimoyen Onsen followed. Vimoyen had no comforts and little food. Training continued with driving, infantry exercise, weapon training, and parade drill. Kaysorn was grateful to his Captain Perm and Major Luang Ram Rittirong, the head of the Transport Corp, looked after them like their own and helped with everything. It was a long 26 days placement. Entering cortisol at the front, Kaysorn said,
At the new offensive line, we saw lots of dead bodies, both men and horses. Shells were dropping nearby. So many dead, I felt terribly sad. At the same time, I was thinking that I came here because I volunteered to be here for our country and our religion. We intended to support our nation following our royal guidance.
British troops here are on the way to the front, using trucks like Kaysorn would have to navigate, including artillery fire like these 15-centimeter shells hitting a road. Kaysorn saw German fighter planes around 300 to 400 in the air all at once. They dropped hand bombs. On the ground, shells were equally frightening. This is a German fighter squadron. A Gotha biplane bomber and German ground crews demonstrating different sizes of bombs for the Gotha. This elegant German Lohner flying boat was stolen from the German in Dalmatia by an Italian pilot, now in Italian Air Force Museum on Bracciano Lakeshore near Rome. Long-range Cephalin airship crossed the sea to bomb British military and civilian targets. This is a painting by Themistocles von Eckenbrecher. Try to say that when you are very tired. It is a Zeppelin bombing Antwerp. Kaysorn saw the French escape down foxholes in bombardment. Again, there was not much food. If they got lost, they missed dinner, which he said was just as frightening as the bombs. At the first battlefield, they finally got parcels of nice things, and that cheered them up, of handkerchiefs, comb, soap, toothbrush, toothpaste, sardines, boot lace, a woolly jumper, and a woolly hat. Kaysorn wrote a Buddhist reflection
We were very happy and very grateful. Best wishes and hearty thanks. I cannot give you anything in return other than the work I did at the front. Your kindness will never vanish. The spirit and memory of good deeds never dies.
Then they entered the second front, stationed at Jubico, to transport food, men, and shells to the U.S. Army. Kaysorn mentioned lot of rain and mud. They surprised the Americans to help them capture Mets. Kaysorn wasn't frightened of shells and bombs. For him, the worst thing was breaking down and missing food. Kaysorn wrote,
I had my own experience of no food for 8 days and was so weak. It felt like I was dying from hunger. Luckily, an American soldier drove past. He knew I was starving and he gave me his bread. For most of us, if we had a breakdown in this sector, the Americans really did help us. They gave us food and looked after us well with corned beef, cigarettes, very good bread, and lots of other things. Most of us realized that the Americans were very good and were pleased that they actually knew who we were. They recognized us as Siamese and always helped us, handed over a fag without a word. We were all the same. We all worked hard with no fear.
This photograph of French bride parents on exercise, that's how the Thai Air Corps were training. British casualties were high before the Americans joined the Allies. After that, the Germans could not stop the Allies' advance. The painting is a German biplane bomber and fighter patrolling over the Argonne, the American sector where Kaysorn worked. In this aerial photo of an American camp in the Argonne forest, you can see the supply road where Kaysorn would have driven. British tanks on the left made a big difference. These American tanks on the right in the Argonne were supplied by the Thais. American fought in these Argonne villages supplied by Kaysorn. It would have been easy to get lost. Kaysorn wrote that they were desperate for cigarettes. They even had to smoke apple leaves. Finally, a big parcel arrived and he wrote a Buddhist prayer of thanks for cigarettes from the second front.
It is a blessing in Buddhism to give away your possessions. We were given 150 cigarettes each, which made me delighted. I pray for you with every good wish, and may you succeed in everything. Have every happiness without any worry. When you think of jewels, let lots of jewels suddenly appear. When you think of gold, may you have gold. I wish you no enemies, and if you are in need of a lover, I wish that you have one soon. You gave me those cigarettes which could not compare to anything else, because we were so in need of them. Thank you.
Germany agreed an armistice on the 11th of November, and they were ordered to stop firing. Kaysorn was very pleased, but will continue sending supplies long distance. New orders came to move into Germany. Passing Verdun, he saw totally destroyed houses and nobody there. Kaysorn heard a rumor that the Allies were being poisoned by the Germans, but had not seen any evidence for it. In summary, Royal Transport Corp had been based at Marseille, Lyon, Dordogne, Versailles, Vimoyen, Courticeau, and Jubico, and the Royal Air Corps in Marseille, East, Po, and Arvor. The Transport Corps were ordered to enter Germany to police the Rhineland. They had a night here in Landau where the Thai officer had a dangerous close encounter with a woman. No, not suitable to describe for the Siam society. Kleuap Kaysorn went to Muspak, where he found that the Germans were standoffish and unfriendly. But after 2 weeks, the villagers all come with chocolates, drinks, and soap. Kaysorn wrote all the girls and children, women and men, were absolutely lovely, like part of a family, and they got to know the villager very well. This is a beautiful area of vineyards, the Muspak villa of Mozart patron Carl Theodore. Muspak School was where Kaysorn's group of Transport Corp was stationed. The Hotel Zum Löwen in Neustadt was where the Thai officers stayed. Another transport group was stationed here in Geisham. You can see them having their photo taken on the left. Local historian Norbert Castle of Geisham Heimatverein had collected pictures still in the village and let us copy them. You can see the color here of the school behind the soldiers, which is still there. Our friend Tom Marshall colorized them. This is where these soldiers were standing at the bakery. And the village had changed very little. Orders came to pull back to Hochspeyer. Kaysorn said the separation was very hard, with strong mixed feelings of some Thais in love with the girls. Hochspeyer is 4 stations down the line in Palatine Mountains. Soon the Muspak girl came with eggs and milk. He said they met with deep intimacy as husbands and wife. It was cold, and 8 of his group died of pneumonia. He drove with painful hands and used 8 blankets at night. None of the carts worked properly, and he fell in love with hot stove. This Thai patient has pneumonia, and the virus was the Spanish flu. On the 17th of March, 1917, the Royal Transport Corp received their victory flag. The captain organized a parade in Neustadt. Kaysorn wrote,
I felt so proud to have done my duty successfully, a small part of a very big success. We all had a helpful attitude and worked very hard showing these values to other nations who were so kind to us. I wish to thank all the Allies for helping and supporting us. I want to remind all friends, do not only think of yourself, but think of the wider picture and think of the future. The merit of our hard work made the mission a success and the name of Thailand widely recognised. I don't mind having only clothes in return for this duty, but I do want my name in the history books and to be remembered.
King Vajira would design this Royal Thai Army victory flag. He included the Buddhist prayer Pa Hung from the time of King Naresuan. In the front had the beautiful Siamese white elephant. And this was the rear with the same prayer. In the middle is the royal crown and the monogram RR6 for Ramathibodi VI. We translated the prayer into English.
The victorious lord of morality conquered the devil King Mara, who, brandishing 1,000 weapons, rode on an elephant followed by his roaring devil servants. With the power of morality, a victory with us all at the end.
Thank you. After 73 days at Khwanchai, they moved to Studenham, nearer the Rhine, for potential renewal of conflict. This is Frankenthal, a mile south of Studenham, from where the Thais were ordered to cross the Rhine, threatening complete invasion. They were very busy alongside the Vietnamese and the French, and drove deep into Hessen. Immediately, the Germans signed the peace treaty. They stay here at Hoffham. At this station, Kaysorn recorded an ugly incident between Vietnamese troops and the French.
It was at this camp that I saw firsthand how the Vietnamese were treated by the French army as their colonial troops, and I felt very sorry for them. They were ordered to work very hard like buffalo. Even the French privates had the power to punish the Vietnamese who disobeyed their orders. The Vietnamese themselves were frightened of the French, who would just kick the Vietnamese if they thought they were not working fast enough. It frightened me when I saw the French punching them. I would remind you how bad it can be a colony. So we should not be negligent in looking after our country. Don't let Siam suffer like them. Some try to avoid the national service by being ill and paying money to avoid detection. These people had no idea about the difficulty the Vietnamese were facing.
Kaysorn's daughter later wrote that he stabbed a French soldier but appeared to fake madness. He avoided a court-martial. The abuse that he witnesses may be Kaysorn's real explanation for the stabbing. This is President Wilson, who had made very favorable agreement between Siam and America. Kaysorn recorded,
On the 10th of July, we received the order to go back to Bangkok. That night, lots of German ladies came to see us, to talk, to share feelings. It was very sad to go home. In the end, it was true to say that on leaving Germany, we were going to miss it very much. My heart felt a bit painful. People from all 6 towns around Neustadt, where we had stayed, had all turned out.
the 6 towns and villages where the Transport Corp stayed were Neustadt, Musbach, Geisham, Hochspeyer, Studenham, and Hoffham. On leaving Germany, Kaysorn reminded his friends,
We should all really have restrained passion and concentrated on the important matter of our royal duty. We can measure the depth of water, but we can't really measure the depth of the human heart. I would warn you, do not love any enemy with all your heart, because they are still the enemy. And if they lose, they might only be superficially trying to please. They may feel spiteful, which we then overlook to our detriment.
Kaysorn also recorded the loss of his friends.
On the 12th of November, Private Prom was killed in a garage in a shell explosion. Friends were lost and badly injured, which upset me a lot. We would not give up. We would die for our country as gentlemen and be strong and follow our lives. Do not wander away from life. Love our country and keep our religion great. 8 of his friends died from cold, Spanish flu. It was so cold that my chest went very tight and my body was shivering. Some of us really struggled to cope. Their lungs were destroyed. They got pneumonia and died. Our thoughts turned to missing our parents at home. 26th of January 1919, Sergeant Kaysorn, my goodness, dying on royal duty, very sad, very sad. I was furious with the German who put the railway barrier down without lighting the lamp. Sergeant Kaysorn was a very good man and worked very hard and had just been promoted. I really missed him. On the 6th of March 1919, Sergeant Major Un, the interpreter, was run over by a French car. It was very sad. Oh, all humans are born with sin and death has no mercy. I felt it was such a regrettable waste that his knowledge went just like that, with no chance to teach younger ones. I thought of his father, who would be grief-stricken and so let down to lose his son. None of us can bring anyone back from death.
The Agriculture College in Neustadt was where the medical corps stayed. Here the flying corps are going on to Paris. The parade in the Paris Victory Parade took place on the 14th of July 1919. Siam went at independent country, the Royal Transport Corp, led by Major Luang Ram Rittirong. They showed off King Rama VI color before the world. A parade in London was led by Prince Nitayakon Warawan, and the parade in Belgium again led by Major Luang Ram Rittirong. Kaysorn wrote,
all the daily European newspapers reported that the Transport Corps of the Thai Army was disciplined and of good character. I was very proud to have got the job done well and calmly to enjoy success. I was very pleased that our commander was highly decorated for all of his impressive hard work with the Order of the Elephant.
On the 19th of August 1919, the Siamese Expeditionary Force set off home on a Danish ship, Metau, which was comfortable. They had a different stop here at Dutch Sabang of Sumatra. When they were arrived at Got Si Chang, Kaysorn met Prince Jakapong and gave him the memoir. The prince was very pleased, gave Kaysorn 100 baht. On the 21st of September, they cruised into Bangkok in a convoy of 7 ships and the royal barge. Entering the river mouth, both banks were full of Thais, Chinese, and Europeans. Finally, Kaysorn walked on Bangkok soil. Away less than 2 years, it seemed more prosperous. The soldier from ranks and listened to the king's speech with pride in victory. They all received the war medal shown here. Kaysorn and the other troops dined with the king, and he admired the colored chandeliers instead of army candles. After returning his uniform, Kaysorn received a personal order to go to see the king. His Majesty was very pleased with his account and rewarded him with 100 baht. The king conducted a funeral ceremony shown here at Sanam Luang. 19 of 1,284 soldiers had died, but none in combat. Despite many men out on the battlefield, and 14 died of Spanish flu. Horse-drawn gun carriages took the scenery remains of the dead soldiers. Lots of people attended the ceremony. The Siamese Expeditionary Force Scenery Memorial is a beautiful jetty in Tawarawadi style, in a quiet corner of Sanam Luang. Here, though, is very many dignified First World War memorials to some of the German troops at Traufang in Germany. Kaysorn's last chapter was an unhappy one. He went to Phahurat and was robbed by a drug addict. He lost all his money, totaling of 600 baht. Kaysorn reported the incident to the police and went hungry for a day. He found Major Ruangram Ritchirong house, whose family looked after him like their own son. The police arrested the thief who took his money, which had gone. But Kaysorn remained positive, saying,
There was a moral to the letdown. When we starve, someone will be kind to us. Otherwise, mankind acts just like a bad crow that simply leaves its droppings on the roof and destroys it. If we are honest, there will always be someone to help us through any difficulty.
The final consequences of Siam joining the Allies were that Siam joined the League of Nations, established the Royal Thai Air Force, established airmail in the Royal Thai Postal Service, strengthened the Royal Thai Armed Forces, brought leadership, army, driving skills back to Thailand, and boosted medical and surgical experience. At Kaysorn's own funeral in 1958, his daughters reissued this book with this Buddhist proverb in Bali Sanskrit. Rupang chirati machanang, nama kotang na chirati. เรือนร่างของสรรพสัตว์ย่อมแตกสลายแต่ชื่อและสกุลจะยังคงอยู่ The bodies of all creatures will be disintegrated, but the great names shall remain. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was just a very fascinating talk, and I'm extremely impressed by the photographs, the work, the research that both of you have done to go back in time and find so many amazing photographs and pictures and illustrations. I'm sure there'll be some questions. Would someone like to ask a question? There's one in the back.
Yeah, thank you very much. That was a fascinating talk. I'm going to ask a question that I probably will find the answer to in the book that I've just bought and which I'm looking forward to reading. But I noticed that Sergeant Kaysorn, he references religion or Buddhism as one of the reasons that he is fighting in this war, engaging in this war. And I just wondered, does he at any point in his diaries reflect upon what it means to be a Buddhist in war and how he reconciles perhaps the central tenet of non-violence or ahimsa with being a soldier?
Well, it's quite a tough question. He did not say anything about not going to the war, but he think he joined because he want to keep the world in peace.
One. I'm just curious. He has a daughter. He came back. He got married. Could you tell a bit about his life after he came back? Did he have a profession? What did he do?
Well, he used to go to lecture at the military college in this subject, and some more in the books that he went. In the Second World War, he completely lost, and the daughter thought he dead already because the house that they were has been destroyed by the bomb. And some year later, he came back, and the daughters look after him, and they have very good time together to very end of his life.
Yeah, very interesting talk. Thank you very much. Did you say that none of the soldiers actually got killed in fighting? In that
No,
they died of diseases and so on instead?
No, not really. Only accidents and virus.
Were they actually fighting at the front line, or were they kept behind the front line?
Well, they delivered shells and men and all sort of thing to the Americans and the French.
Was there any particular reason why they weren't sent to the front?
Well, at that time, I think they need some people to drive,
okay.
And they've been trained to drive.
All right, thank you.
It's very good if I can go to. Well, it's quite interesting research. The reason why they not be sent to the front.
Did he mention any Indian soldiers?
He did. Just briefly that he stayed very nearby Indians and Vietnamese, but not in contact.
In talking about the French treatment of the Vietnamese soldiers, in other references to him, I've seen that this disturbed him very greatly, and that the Thai soldiers sometimes, perhaps more than was mentioned in this lecture, did receive considerable disrespect from the French military. The question that comes to mind for me is, during the decade after the war, when Vietnamese activists, refugees from colonial Indochina found refuge in Siam, and I bring to mind the strange and wonderful book, The Siamese Trail of Ho Chi Minh. I just think that the Siamese experience in World War I must have had a residual effect on what the Thai army and the Thai nation became in the years after. What would Siam have been if a Siamese Expeditionary Corps had not gone to France?
So the question you're asking is, do you think that this change, because the Siamese went to Europe, this changed the whole political attitude afterwards? Is that the kind of the question which you're asking? Maybe you can answer that, I think.
Yeah.
Do you feel that there made a difference, that there was something that changed after the Siamese came back?
Well, I think it's not only the Siamese. The world is changed after the First World War.
Good answer. There was another question in the back over there.
Thank you for the presentation. It was very interesting to hear that he spent so much time in Germany. And I'm just wondering, is there any reflection on the book on the differences between the Europeans whom he meets? Is there a difference between an English and a German, according to the author?
It's a bit confused.
question is whether he perceived the French differently from the British or from the Germans. Did he consider them all Europeans, or did he feel, because you said he liked the Germans very much. So did he have a warmer feeling to Germans or to the French, or how did he feel?
Well, I think when the war has ended, everyone's like feel more relaxed. That's why he feel very warm and welcomed by the German. I think that for the fact. We went round to the villages, and there are still part-time in that villages.
Did you say that he stabbed a French officer and that he was not court-martialed? Was that, I'm sorry, did I miss that?
Yes, his daughter had like a note, and she wrote that he turned himself to be madness, and he avoided. That don't have more detail. It's just that.
So, in other words, it's not in the book.
Not in his diary.
Not in his diary. His daughter talked about it.
Yeah.
There were probably things he remembered that he did, things that he would talk about afterwards that he
Yes.
didn't talk about. I have to say, one thing I was very impressed when you showed the pictures of the German bombs, because I had a grandfather who was in World War I, and it's exactly what you mentioned in the pictures, that the bombs were being dropped all over, and he was in the cavalry, and his horse ran away, and he had to go after the horse, and everybody else in the food line was killed except for him. So these were amazing stories, and the pictures brought back something to me. So, is there anything else, or I think this was a wonderful, very interesting talk, and the way you balanced it between the two of you with the reading was very, very good. So I think a warm hand to our speakers. Thank you.